welcome back to the Bianconerizon for a preview, the Udinese preview, uh, match day 17, second of 2023, after a first win against Cremonese. So the first home game of 23, and it's gonna be, excuse me for my voice, by the way, it's gonna be a special one for multiple reasons, but of course, starting off the show with saying, um, rest in peace to Vialli. I mean, only 58. That's very young. Now I was young to watch him play live. Obviously, watch the videos, read on him, uh, and you know what he means for the club, or like what he has done. He still is the last captain to lift the Champions League. He was a vital player for the club in terms of winning and actually, you know, actually being the face of the club for a very long time. He was a special guy, loved by everyone, like not just Juve fans, which is very hard to do. But he was a fantastic guy, and yeah, we knew his illness, what it was, but I think everybody is kind of surprised that it went this fast. It's sad, but you know, um, we got to move on, I guess. But very sad because he's a legend. I think the older ones on the channel, and there are, I think he's one of the main reasons why they became a Juve fan. I know a few who became a Juve fan because of him. So he had a big influence in terms of, you know, making people fall in love with him, and then obviously the club he plays for. But it's a sad day. So rest in peace to him. And yeah, let's move on to the Udinese game. Second of the Serie A for us in 23. First home game. First, probably, or maybe the second time, the stadium is sold out. I think the first time was against Inter. Oh no, the third time, and the first time was against PSG, which is weird, but that was sold out. PSG, Inter, and now Udinese, which is a good thing because um, obviously it's not. How do you want to say that? On paper, it's not a big game. It's a big game because of the situation in the league we are in, but it's sold out. You might say that's how all games should be for us at home, sold out, but it's sold out. So it's a big game. We're going to preview that a little bit. Question about the lineup, I will get into it later on towards the end. And then I will also go over other options like the Grifo option, the Grifo question. But before we actually start talking about the game, lineups and all those stuff, Allegri did have a presser where he obviously said some things. I left out all the injury reports because I will go over that during the starting lineup, and also most of them are still out. So that's that, But I will go over some things he said. So we spoke about Udinese, obviously. We play Udinese, saying they are having a great championship and they have a very technical and physical players. It will be a complicated match, as they all are, which is true. Now, I think they are having a good championship. I was expecting them to be in and around these positions. They started off flying, and they took up, a little dip as expected, I'm going to say, because they were top of the league at some point, the first 5 games or whatever. Obviously, they're not going to stay there because they don't have that type of squad. But they're doing well. But the last few games, they are playing, I don't want to say poorly, because I've watched a few moments of them, not full games. They're not playing poorly, but they're not as potent or dangerous as they were at the start of the season. I will say that. I think that's a fact. Now, they drew against Empoli at home, which wasn't a good game overall, I read. But before we went into the break, I wrote it down. So, look this. they played, so they won their last game in Serie A. That was the 3rd of October. That was away to Verona. Then they went on to draw Atalanta 2-2, Lazio 0-0, lose at home to Torino, play 0-0 against Cremonese, 1-1 Lecce, 1-1 Spezia, lose against Napoli, and then they come back and they are dropping points at home against Empoli, which means they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They went 9 games in Serie A without a win, which obviously is not a good form. Picking up, I think, 4 draws in that time, or 5 draws. It's not a good form. It's actually a poor form. Like, let's be completely honest. It's not a good form. You expect us to beat Udinese. That's what the expectation is. Besides the fact that, yes, they had a good start, they're in a very, very poor period. They're not, again, winless at 9 in Serie A in the last 8 games. That's poor form. That's actually a relegation form, if I'm being completely honest. Now, they're not in a relegation zone because they won, 7 or 6 out of the first 7 or whatever. That's why they're sitting pretty good in the league. But the last 8 to 9 games is relegation form. That's just how it is. So, yeah, I mean, is it a tricky game? Yes, because you can undervalue Udinese, and you can get beat. Like a few years ago, first game of the season with Terio, we lose, and we were obviously the better team. And you turn around and you're losing that game, first game of the season. But the form they're in, it's poor. Like, it's just poor. We are in a good form. You expect us to beat them. I'm not saying convincingly or easily, but you should be beating them. Julian is talking about Beto against Rugani, which I will get into later on when I go into the lineup. But yeah, that's something to worry about. I'm not gonna lie. Let's move on. Then he was asked about the young players, Sule, who is not gonna start tomorrow. I'll give that away, or you just might have read that on the Twitter account. But he was asked about it, and he said physically he will be ready to play. Now I have to evaluate whether to make him a 5th midfielder. So forget about that. Don't evaluate that. A trequartista, do evaluate that. Or a wide attacker / winger, maybe. But in a 3-5-2, don't do that. He's a player with a lot of quality. I'm happy with him, and now how he is growing. Now, he's not gonna play. It's obvious. Di Maria is back. Cuadrado's almost back. He's not gonna play, but Cuadrado and Di Maria coming back might be an advantage for him. As of if he's gonna play, I do believe it will be in a different position, or like strictly, if we switch to a 3-4, whatever, he will play in positions he actually will shine, and he doesn't need to track back consistently, like all of the time, like extreme lengths, like he needed to do away to Cremonese. So maybe that's a win in disguise. But for now, don't evaluate whether to play him as a midfielder. Just please don't evaluate that. Just don't even think about it, because it's a waste. Like, it's a waste of, you're wasting his talent, and I think you're wasting a player actually on the pitch for us, because he's not going to be impactful. He might even hinder you and do more wrong than good. Not solely his fault, but he's just not a midfielder the way he wants him to play. When Allegri says midfielder, he says basically 3-5-2, and he's a right wing back. I think that's what he thinks with midfielder, because he cannot play in like an 8 or whatever he's thinking. I don't know what he's suggesting in a 3-5-2. So don't evaluate that. Then play him in his position, or actually don't play him at all. That's just my opinion because I still have a flashback from the Ake performance away to Fiorentina when he got hooked, and not his fault, but I don't know what good that that idea was for him, like Ake, and for us, like on the field, like it was pointless. It was just a waste of a player doing a job he shouldn't be doing. So forget about that. But he's not gonna play anyway, so I don't know what he's evaluating. Then he went on saying Chiesa did well the other day. Also physically, he needed a game in which he could raise his pace. I don't know if he will start or not, but the more we go on, the more his minutes increase. Yeah. He needs time. We know that. He needs a few games, at least a good few run of games to up his fitness and, get back into the flow of actually playing competitive football for a long period of time, like more than 50 minutes, because it's been a year. So I think it will look rusty at times, and it needs some time, which is it's normal. But the more he plays now, the better, because that gets him up to speed. I was expecting him to be up to speed now almost, but setbacks and whatever, he's not. But if he can get 60 minutes tomorrow, I'll be very happy. Like 60 good, intense minutes, where he's kind of involved and like not anonymous, maybe like a Sule. Like you see him pop him up at the beginning, and then towards the end, you're like towards last 20 minutes of a spell, you're like, is he still on the pitch? Then okay, you need to hook him, because I think that's damaging the team. Yes, minutes is good, but like do some cardio tests then. But like I think he needs to have a good 60-minute, not impactful or like impactful. I'm not saying he needs to pop up with assists consistently or like pre-assist, whatever. But you need to see him have a good impact in terms of taking on players, which he showed in the first minutes he came on against Cremonese. I think that's what we need to see, because we were questioning his burst, his speed. With that recovery, when Paredes took that shot after that corner, his speed is good. It's sitting good, It's just, can he produce that like he did in previous seasons, consistently, pace, cutting back, up and down, it was like an energizing bunny at times. That remains to be seen, of course. But yeah, let's move on. He said, and then he talked about Keane, and he basically said what I think me and Julian said in today's podcast. If not, it was a previous podcast or live. That I think it was today's podcast, that he is visibly doing better on the pitch, and also his behavior when he comes on, when he's on the pitch, all those things. It looks like he enjoys playing football compared to last season, where he looked like a lot of people do when they need to go to their job and they're like, I don't want to do this. That feeling I got from him last season consistently, and it was pointless, even at the start of this season a little bit. And it was like, why are you bringing him on? He clearly doesn't want to play. Like, he doesn't really care at this point, or that's the vibe he's giving. But I do agree he turned that around, and that's what Allegri said. Which one thing is shocking. He said this year Keane presented himself very well. Compared to last year, he lost 6 kilos. He has a different mindset. He also plays differently on the pitch. 6 is a lot. I was shocked when he said that. That's a lot for a footballer. That's quite a lot. Like, I'm not being honest. That's a lot. I don't know why it was like that last season. Maybe because he wasn't getting much playing time, not really getting involved. All those things. You can suggest, but 6 kilos is a lot. When he comes on, especially against Cremonese, I actually thought he had some burst, a spark, which is good. And before the World Cup, he had that goal scoring streak, which is also good, because again, he's there, he's gonna play. I don't expect 15 goals from him. I expect around 10. Now, that's not much for the price we paid for him, but I don't think that's his fault. We paid the price for him. I'm not going to sit here and be like, we paid almost 40 mil for you, so I expect a 40 mil output. That's not fair because we know he's not going to give you that. So I made my peace with that. But he should be hitting 10 goals easily with the amount of playing time he's getting. And if he can give you that, still the price is way too much, but it's not his fault. Like, I'm not gonna judge him based on the price. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Excuse me. But I don't know. It looks better. It looks like he comes on with a purpose to do well, which should be the bare minimum. But who knows? And to wrap it up, he wrapped it up with a jinx, or like he's trying to jinx it, like he jinxed Inter last season. Incredible, but that's who he is. He said Napoli is a clear favorite. They're having an extraordinary season. Our goal is to stay in the top 4. That's it. I saw a lot of people get angry with that. The goal is at this moment in time top 4. We're 7 points behind still. And Napoli are the favorites. I think it's the truth. It shouldn't be our goal, but at this moment in time, it is the goal. It is what it is. One sec. Excuse me. But it's the goal. It's getting to the top 4, and Napoli are the favorites, even though they lost away to Inter. But is that a big surprise? I don't know. I don't think it's a surprise because Inter should be doing better than they are doing. Like, we should be doing better. But if we beat Napoli at home, I don't think anyone would be shocked. It would be like, yeah, that should, that's supposed to happen, or like that's a big chance is it's possible you beat Napoli at home. So Inter beating Napoli at home was not a shock to me. But it brought the 10 points to 7. That's what it did for us. And that's that little bit of hope that gives you that within 7 days, because next Friday we would have played Napoli. So next Friday, this time, we're probably doing a live to debate, or to discuss the Napoli game. And maybe we can come on and say, it's 4 points, guys. It's 4 points. And all to play for. Who knows? But for now, they are the favorites. They are the best team in the league. And we are not. We are a top 4 team at this moment in time. And that's just the reality. So I don't know what people expected him to say. I don't think he's going to come on the stage and be like, we are the favorites. Forget about the 7 points. We are playing for the title, because at this moment in time, we are not playing for the title. You can say that. And probably when he says that, the same people will come out and say, oh, but you're 7 points behind. How can you say that? So it's a lose-lose situation for him. But it is what it is, I guess. Let me see the comments really quickly. Thanks for blessing me. Julian says, AKS22 would have known. I did it. I was shocked when the club tweeted that out. I thought he was like 19 still. But yeah, he's gone at the end of the season for sure. Omar is saying, I think Allegri said this season he will fight for the title. He said that at the start of the season. And I think that's why I think he needs to leave if we just finish top 4 at the end of the season. That's just my opinion, because he said we should be competing for the title, and we are nowhere near close to it at this moment in time. But for now, the position we are in, you're not competing. Like 7 points, that's not really competing the way we are playing and the way Napoli are playing, that's not really competing. That's just my opinion. Um, Everyone dislikes Allegri's way of playing, but he knows how to manage a squad during a season. He knows to choose the best formation and the best post for players to equilibrate the squad. He brings security, serenity, and calms the team. Players look much confident now than 1 or 2 years ago. Okay, but last season was a disaster, and this season is also a disaster. So, I mean, is he? Is he doing actually well? The players are being happy or like being more happy than 3 years ago. Great, but like we're scraping top four. We got embarrassed in the Champions League, and we're 7 points off the top. So I don't think that's an excellent job. Like I cannot sit here and be like that's an amazing job with the money he's on, the players he's getting. I don't think that's an amazing job. I cannot agree with that. I see what you're trying to say, but I cannot agree that. I like Allegri. He's done well with the players he has. Has he? Has he? We got our asses whooped against Benfica and Maccabi Haifa. I don't think he is doing well with the players he has. Like that's not doing well. Now it's doing well, but even then, like in this squad, there's more potential than the way we are winning games now. Again, we are winning, but like you can do much better with the players he has. That's just my opinion. That squad is not that bad. That it should be losing to Benfica and Maccabi like we did, or be 10 points off the top of the league before last week. Like that's out of the question in my opinion. That's not doing a good job, but that's just me. Also, he's here. This is his second season already. It's not his first season. It's a second season. So I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. He didn't have Di Maria, Pogba, or Chiesa. So didn't Maccabi. Like I'm sorry, that's a poor excuse in my opinion. Like you were playing a bunch of nobodies against Maccabi, and we got outplayed in every way, shape, or form because we had no style of play. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to fall on to when those players are not there. Maccabi didn't have those players. I'm not having that, losing to Monza and all those things. You had Di Maria on the pitch. Like, sorry, like I'm not gonna do that in a second season. Like I'm not gonna give him that. We are top 3 now in a Scudetto, where Milan, Inter are finally back to their top. Napoli has done an excellent job this season compared to previous season. Yeah. I don't talk about Champions League exit. Yes, this is awful. I talk about the evolution. Also, Juventus have played their B against CL teams. They haven't played their B teams against CL teams. We are changing the narrative for Allegri, which, again, it's your opinion, but I'm not gonna do that. We got embarrassed against Maccabi, PSG, Benfica. Unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. I don't want to hear all these excuses. It's unacceptable. We have 5 losses out of 6 games in the Champions League. In what world is that acceptable? What excuse is acceptable to validate losing 5 games out of 6 in a Champions League group stage and barely getting in the Europa League even? Like that's unacceptable. It's a no-go. It's an absolutely no-go. Maccabi, but now we are in the Europa League. We shouldn't be in the Europa League. I'm not gonna be that as a win. You will play big teams, Man U, Arsenal, and others. We will see our A team, Pogba and Chiesa against them. We shouldn't be in the Europa League. Period. It's that simple. Nobody says it's acceptable what Allegri has done against Maccabi. You kind of did, because you were going on previous saying it's a good job, or he knows how to choose the best formation, get the best out of the player. Well, that's not completely true, because we lost 5 games out of 6. So, again, it's your opinion, but I'm not going to agree with that. Losing 5 out of 6 in the Champions League, it's a no-go, and that's not doing a good job. We are playing Nantes in the Europa League. So that's all you need to know. We are in the Europa League playing Nantes. All our players' value are down. Allegri is doing well, actually. Okay, like that's opinion. That's opinions. Yes, we beat Inter. We didn't beat Roma. We played 1-1 against Roma. We beat Lazio, but that's like we're playing at home against Inter and Lazio. Like you should be beating those teams with the squad you have. If you don't beat them, if you don't sweep them over the season, I get that, and that's fine. But like I'm not gonna sit here and say we beat Inter, but we lost 5 in the Champions League, lost against Monza, drew against Sampdoria, had nothing against Sampdoria, dropped points against all these kind of shit teams, and be like, this is an amazing job. It's not. It's not an amazing job. It's not. It's the second season, and I think it's worse than last season because last season at least we made it out of the group stage. We didn't even make it out of the group stage, and this season can easily end like last season. Don't get fooled. It can easily end the way it ended last season, very easily. So keep that in mind. Again, Crazy Ray, you cannot exclude the Champions League. It's part of the season. You cannot exclude the Champions League. It's part of the season. It's like saying, it's like saying last season, hey, we finished 4, played 2 finals. Forget about the Villarreal embarrassing. Hey, no, it's part of the season. It's in the season. It's awful. It goes into a box or whatever on the scale, and at the end of the season, you're gonna evaluate what went well and what went wrong. And the Champions League is part of the season. He played that with the squad. He managed to completely, bottle that, if you want to call that. It's part of the season. You cannot exclude that. You cannot exclude a part of the season. You just can't. But yeah. Do you think he resigns at the end of the season? Now, I said in a live, I think with Julian, I think there's a possibility because of the situation with the club. And if we go, just, make it into the top 4, play no finals, and it's like another bleach season where you're like, oh, man, an entire year for this, nothing to show for. Again, not real improvement in terms of position and all those things. And I do believe there's a big chance that he will walk at the end of the season. I truly believe that. But I think that's still far away. Again, you can turn it completely around. Next week we can sit here and be 4 points out of Napoli. You be in the title race, and the season is back on. And maybe who knows what will happen. But if it goes away, I believe it's gonna go, or I have a feeling it's gonna go. I think there is a possibility that he will just walk at the end of the season. I actually do believe that. I do. Let me see. I was looking at the comments. Excuse me. Let me bring those up. I'm just saying that you already make a statement now, but the season, I'm just saying that you already make a statement now, but the season is not finished. Juve this season would never win the Champions League. Maybe we can, but I made the statement. So did you. You were saying he was doing well, so you make the same statement, and I'm saying that's not true, because as of now, that's part of the. I'm saying no. At the end of the season, I will say yes or no. But for now, it's not doing well, because what he did is only a few months ago. It looks long ago because we had a World Cup break, but it's not that long ago. So we both made a statement. It's just a completely the opposite statement. And it's not about not winning the Champions League. It's about losing 5 out of 6 games. Like, nobody expects us to win the Champions League, but everybody expects us to make it at least out of the group stage. That's just the bare minimum. Not losing 5 out of 6. Like, that's just unacceptable. Part of the season, not going well for me. It's as simple as that. You say Scudetto is over. No, I'm not agreeing. For now, 7 points, how it stands now, for me, it's over. again, next week, if we are 4 points, it's back on. But a lot of things need to happen for that to be true. But as of now, 7 points for this team, the way Napoli are playing, even Milan are playing, it's a lot. It's actually a lot. That's just my opinion. We play against Napoli in 2 games. If we beat them, you can still... Yeah, that's big ifs. Like, you are basing it on ifs. I'm basing it on... No. So you say to me, so wait and see. But you're doing this... You're using ifs. I'm not using ifs. I'm saying, as of now, those 5 games, it's not an ifs. It's a fact. He lost 5 games in the Champions League. And we were 7 points off top of the league. That's not an if. That's a 100% fact. I'm not talking about ifs. I'm talking, as of now, it's not a good season. He's not doing a great job overall. You are saying, oh, but we have a chance in the Europa League. If this, if that, and we are not winning the Champions League. I'm not saying that. That's you. I'm just talking about now. What he done now, overall, is not great. Again, if you are a fan... of Roma or Lazio, maybe this is acceptable, but this is Juve and it's not acceptable. It's as simple as that for me personally. But that's that. Let's see. At the end of the season, I will reevaluate it. But as of now, this is not a good season. This is just, especially because he said at the start of the season, we need to win the title. We need to be in a title race, and I believe we will. As of now, he's not in a title race. So, it's his words, not mine. But yeah, let's move on, I guess, to the starting 11. Let me bring that in, because I forgot to bring that in. Let me bring it in now. Where is it gone? So tomorrow, obviously there will be some changes. Let me see. I will go on this topic for a little bit more. That's it. If we win the last 3 trophies, would you consider this the best season of our recent era? If we win the last 3 trophies of the last years, yeah, you know, it would be, because that means you win the Scudetto, we win the Coppa Italia. We haven't done that for 2 seasons or 3, or 2, and even if you win the Europa League, that I agree, yeah, obviously. But does anyone actually believe that's gonna happen? Truly, being honest, I personally don't believe that. That's just my opinion. But we did a podcast, and I said expectation should be get somehow into that title race again, play the Copa final, and play the Europa League final. I think, or go closer to the Europa League final. But if from a recent era, I agree, because the Sardi season was kind of, how do you want to say that? Kind of, I don't know, man. With COVID, the way it went, it was also bad. We won because Lazio totally collapsed. But going from that Allegri season, Ajax through now, if you win 3 titles, including Europa League, I'm gonna say yes. Also because this squad has less quality than those squads, in my opinion, overall. That's just my opinion. So I'm gonna say yes, because we have a lot of youngsters and all those things, and a lot of new players. So I would say yes. If that happens, I will be very, very optimistic, obviously, for the future, because it means a lot of these players who have won nothing with the club, or like nothing significant, would have won things, and that would be a big, big boost in terms of how to move on, move further away. But yeah, that's that. But yeah, let's move on. Back to the game. Udinese tomorrow. This is a predicted lineup from Romeo Agresti. It's Chesney in goal, so he's fit again. Or like he just remains fit. It's Danilo, Rugani, Sandro. Chiesa, Miretti, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Di Maria, and Keane. Now, few things I'm gonna say. First of all, that backline scares me. Like, it absolutely terrifies me. I don't trust Rugani. I don't trust Alexandro. But I think Bremer, Hanin said I'm not sure, and I should have looked it up. But Bremer is a yellow card away from getting suspended for Napoli, so it makes kind of sense. But this shows how thin we are at the back, because he's gonna rotate Kati and Rugani. Bonucci is not fit, and Bremer is the only quality center back, in my opinion. That's the situation you're in. We need, obviously, we need to do business in that department. Alexandrov coming back in, back three. He was playing well before the World Cup, but with Rugani and Danilo, it screams mistake. It actually screams mistake. So I'm actually terrified just thinking about it tomorrow, because they will be under a lot of pressure, in my opinion, and I just can smell a mistake. That's just my personal opinion. Now, going to that five, Chiesa, right wing back, on the right, as a wing back, right wing back. Interesting to see how that is gonna play out, because his fitness, it will be a miracle if he gets to 60 minutes, in my opinion. He's gonna do a lot of tracking back, and yeah, I mean, it's clear that he has a way to go now. 3-5-2 is going well. 7 games, not conceding. He's gonna stick with that. But ideally, moving forward, even if Pogba comes back, that's not the way to go, if you're being completely honest. But for now, it's Chiesa. Now, the interesting thing on midfield is Miretti, because before the World Cup, I had a feeling he was gonna lose his spot to Fagioli, or like things were gonna shape up that Fagioli was getting, more starts. But Miretti keeps his place, and it's a big opportunity for him, because before the World Cup, I thought the last few days he wasn't playing well. On Wednesday, it wasn't amazing, but I do believe it was better than before the World Cup. He needs to build on this now. He's young. He's very young. But he needs to do better, because he's good on the ball. Like, he is technically very good, like very talented, but at times in the last couple of weeks it doesn't look like that. I don't know what it is. Is it stress? I have no pressure. I have no idea. But it looks very sloppy the last few games. I agree that Miretti is not the regista. I don't think he is. Neither another 10. I think he can be a very good Mezzala or 8. I actually believe that. But I think that's kind of surprising for me that he keeps his place, in my opinion. Obviously, Locatelli, he will play that probably DM role. Rabiot back in the team, because he's kind of unreplaceable at the moment. I'm gonna say he is. Kostic keeps his place, and then Keane. Keane gets a start, not Milik, and Di Maria is back, and he is back up top, which is gonna be very interesting how it's gonna play out. I don't know if they're gonna set up like this completely, but looking at that back line, it doesn't fill me with great confidence. The flip side is having Chiesa and Di Maria back in the team does fill me with confidence, because it gives you something we were missing for a very long time. Technical ability, players who can beat this man, players who are technically very good, and that was just completely missing for quite a while. So that's a positive thing. Interesting to see how we are actually going to set up. If it's going to be like this, I think Di Maria is just going to drift up wide again and, overlap with Chiesa somehow. And Miretti, playing behind Keane in possession. I do believe it's going to be something like that. But again, let's see. Also, because Danilo is not going to do any, pushing up the field, especially in that formation. It's going to be Chiesa, Di Maria, and probably Miretti will slot forward in possession. But it's gonna be very interesting. We need the 3 points, obviously. Like we were just discussing, if you believe in a title, you need the 3 points, and somehow you need to go to Napoli with this squad and beat them to blow up the title race again. Blow open, excuse me. Blow up means you're gonna lose. If you lose away to Napoli, if you win and you lose away to Napoli, it's done. Like it's 10 points again. Like forget about it. Like it's completely done. Season, just focus on just getting top four and do something in Europa League and Coppa Italia. So it's a big week. It's the biggest week of the season now. It's Udinese and Napoli next week. Can you keep your title dream, hope, whatever, alive? But it starts obviously with tomorrow, and it's a tricky game. Again, Udinese are in a crap form, winless in the last 8, 9, 7 games, whatever. They're on relegation form. They're not in relegation zone because they started off like crazy at the start of the season. But the recent form screams relegation football. So on paper, it should be a given. You should be beating them quite comfortable, easy. But we all know that's not going to be the case. Like we all know that. But it's going to be interesting how we are going to approach that game. Are we going to go for it? Full stadium? I don't know what's going to happen with the fans. Are they coming back? Is it going to be a great atmosphere? No idea. But it's a big chance, keep that momentum, keep that positive vibe going into probably the biggest game of the season so far next week. But it starts off for tomorrow. We need to get the 3 points in any way possible. Like, if it's going to be ugly, it is what it is. We need those 3 points tomorrow. And I do believe we will win that game tomorrow. I'm going to go. So I will read out the comments, but let me know your prediction now. Haven't done this in a while, but I'm going 2-1 win. I think we will concede a goal because that backline is kind of scary. So I do believe we will concede a goal. It's very shaky when I think about it, but I do believe we're going to win. And that's all that matters at this moment in time. Like, get those 3 points and keep it rolling, keep it moving. That's just my opinion. Let me look back at the comments before I'm gonna wrap it up. If McKennie and Robbio leave this mercato, do you think Nicolas Dominguez from Bologna is a good cheap option to replace them? He's having a solid season. I think nobody's gonna leave. If someone's gonna leave, it's probably gonna be McKennie, and we're not gonna replace him, which I'm totally fine with. And no Dominguez. I don't want those type of players in and around the club. I just don't want them. I think we don't need another midfielder prospect. If we buy a midfielder, only a quality one, especially when Rovella comes back. I agree with that. I have no idea what Paramount Plus allows you to do. I'm not sure about that. If anybody knows, let Crazy Ray know. I have no idea. I know over here I can just tape the games and rewatch it, but I don't know how it works over there. Ciao, all games in January must be won. We have a chance in the center of Udinese defense at Jakub. Yeah, like, they're not in a good form. Like, you should be winning that game. I'm not going to say it's a walkover, but you should be winning the game. Again, winless in the last 8-9 games. It's relegation form. We are on quote-unquote title form, even though we know how we are getting some of those wins. You're at home, full stadium, in a championship week. Next week, Napoli, you know what's at stake tomorrow and next week. Forget about next week, tomorrow, but in the back of your mind, you know what the dynamics are of the competition, or like the table and the schedule. Because somebody told me yesterday, I'm going to do that because I've not checked, and somebody told me, or Wednesday, look at our schedule. So I'm going to look at our schedule, and he said it's very favorable. So it was Giuseppe on the members live. After Napoli, so we have Udinese, Napoli, we have Monza in the Coppa Italia, but then we have Atalanta at home, Monza at home, Sanitana away, Fiorentina at home, Europa League, Spezia away, Europa League, Torino at home, and then it begins. Roma away, Inter away, Lazio away, Napoli home, Atalanta away, Milan home. So we do have a favorable run. But the question is, do you believe this club will go on a 15 games unbeaten run, winning 13 and only drawing 2 or whatever? That's what's needed to actually be in a full title race and maybe even be at top of the league at some point. That's, of course, the question. On paper, yes, a lot of quote-unquote easy games. But let's start off with tomorrow, because Cremonese was an easy game and we won it with a free kick. Not because we created a lot and we were the much better side. So keep that in mind, even tomorrow, going into the game. And even if you, like previous said, if you beat Napoli, it's a lot of ifs. I bring it up because that's what is at stake. But keep in mind the way we are playing, you're probably not going to beat Napoli like that. That's just a reality. Let me see. Another 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. Boring 2-0. I'll take that. 2-0, 2-0. So I think a lot of people are confident, excuse me. So yeah, unholy fun. I will ask the last question and then I'm going to wrap it up. So if we do win our last 2 games, Udinese and Napoli, and you bring it back to 4 points, everybody in the chat, do you believe, if it's 4 points next Friday at this time, do you believe the title race, do you believe a Scudetto is possible? Just a simple yes or no. So beating Udinese and beating Napoli next week, will you come on this live and tell the chat, I do believe this Scudetto is possible? Let me know in the comments and then I will wrap it up for this live. Also, tomorrow, keep that in mind, Julian and Justin are going to do a watch along for the game. So join them, to talk. Also, the membership is back on. YouTube, did us a favor again. So you can become a member and join. You get the usual things in the chat, but also you can join the private Discord group and play the prediction league, and you can win one of those prizes. You can still join because it's still very possible that even when joining now, you can still win the first place. It's shaping up like that. So consider becoming a member, supporting the channel. And soon the next jersey giveaway is also coming. So keep that in mind if you want to become a member. If you do, reach out to me on the main account or personal account, and I will add you in the private Discord group where you have a chat, prediction league, and all those stuff. Yes. So people are saying yes. This season, sadly, no. Yes. Okay. Fair. Like, it's mixed. But let's see. Let's see how that will go. And if you win, I'm not gonna give you an autograph picture of you. That's creepy. So no. I'm going to wrap it up with this one. At the end of the season, Napoli will be out of the top 4, or at least out of the top 3. So it would be a pity not to take our chance in the race for Scudetto. That's a hot take. That's a very hot take. I'm not going to co-sign that because I do believe Napoli are legit. And I do believe they're going to win the league, if I'm completely honest. If I'm being completely honest, I do believe they're going to win the league. Because in games, they have that luck with... We had that luck when we were winning titles, where in certain games they get it over the line where you're like, how in hell did they manage to do that? But they did, and that's all that matters. We had that a few times, and I do believe they are in that flow. So I do believe they're gonna win it. But I'm gonna wrap it up, of course. It's bedtime. So thanks everybody for joining on a Friday. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. Go watch the podcast me and Julian did. We talked about the title, we talked about Rabiot, and much more interesting stuff. So go check that out. Also like that video. Tomorrow, watch along, match reaction, probably also a live match reaction. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Consider joining the members club, and we will see you back tomorrow for the game.